Well, first of all, thanks for being here, everyone. Appreciate it. And this financial panel is about financial planning specifically. So we hope to do a couple things. Number one, take the mystery out of what financial planning is. And we're going to do that in a couple of ways. First, I'm going to introduce Gene Toboyak. And Gene is the one that got the CFP program here. So Gene, are you willing to say a few words? I can bring this over to you about the program. Yeah. So let's give Gene a hand. We have a CFP certified program because of this man. So Gene.
Normally I don't need a microphone because I talk loud enough, but okay, is this all right? Yeah, big room. All right, so yeah, thanks, Mark. Mark asked if I just give you a couple of minutes about the CFP program. It's been around since around 2018, and yes, he is correct. I am the director, but Mark is also a director, so happy that Mark came on board with us. So what that simply means for a student is that if they go through the financial planning curriculum, which is kind of tied to the financial planning emphasis in the finance major, they can come out being certified to sit for the examination without any additional education. Otherwise, if you were like in the industry for years and you decided you wanted to do the CFP, you would actually have to go and find providers to provide all the coursework for you to do that. And that it depends, 6 to 8 typically, depending on the provider, like a Kaplan or American College or something. So that obviously costs you a lot of money too. So you can kind of take care of two things at once with the CFP. And so you all know Mark Gmach already, so he's been part of the team. He's been here 6 years or so. The program's been around for 6 years. Is Yuan in here? She was here before. So our primary instructor on the insurance side, although Mark does some too, is Dr. Yuan. And then we have a new member of the team, and I'm going to try to get his name right. So if you would stand, Pengyu Chan. Did I do that? Is it Chan? And so welcome. Pengyu is taking a lot of the kind of the financial planning 1 and 2 courses on as well, freeing up Mark to do some other stuff and freeing me up to do some other stuff too. So our team seems to be getting a little bit bigger as we go. So thank you. But the only other thing I'll mention, and I know a lot of employers also like to hear this, is what's called the SIE, the Securities Industry Essentials Examination. I got the abbreviation right, the acronym. So we offer that class too as a credential that students can come out with, that a lot of finance disciplines like trading and buying and selling and recommending things to clients require this examination. So we think it's pretty cool that you could actually take that class if you got some extra room in your schedule or if it matches with what you're looking to do, and be able to sit for that examination. So it's a credential that you probably have to take at some point anyway. So getting it done now, better rather than later. So
thank you, Gene. Let's give Gene a round of
sorry.
No, that was perfect. Yeah, and Pengyu, we're excited that you're here, part of the team. He has his doctorate in personal finance from Texas Tech. So I've introduced a lot of you to him. And Pengyu, again, thank you for being here today. Couple things that we want to take care of. First of all, everyone that you see up here, the companies that you see up here, I want you to know, for those of you that are involved in the Finance Association, these are all sponsors, okay? If you could give them a round of applause, financial sponsors. And I tell you, it means so much. And it means so much because it's pizzas for the FMA meetings, right? And that's really important. You've been there, right, Sean? And, and those pizzas cost a lot because usually, I don't know, there's like 150 members and usually about 90 or so show up for those meetings. And then it's money for trips and experiences that, money's so scarce when you're in college, so we can do things like that, or scholarships, or helping out with women in business. So anyway, we thank you very, very much for being sponsors. We really do. So the other one I want to thank is Vinny here. Where's Vinny? Vinny, please stand. Vinny helped me pull this together. Vinny, I want to just thank you for your time and effort. It really was a big lift. Thank you, Vinny. Vinny works with me on the financial planning connected to the FMA board. So what we're trying to do here is take the mystery out of financial planning, right? So many of you maybe are curious or finance majors, and we have some great companies and some great organizations, and I don't want to delay getting into what they want to share with you, but the goal is to take the mystery out of it so you have a sense for what a career would be like in this area. They're going to spend a little time, if their schedule permits, afterward or up here, being able to answer questions. I'm going to also have them talk about internships and career opportunities. So let's get started. So Kent, would you please start, and thanks for being here today. Just tell us your name, title, and who you're with.
Yeah, so I'm Kent Hyland. I'm an associate wealth manager for Annex Wealth Management, and I've been there for about 2 years.
And connected to UW Whitewater. Kevin, a former student.
I am, yep, class of 2021. Mark was a great professor of mine. I am also an associate wealth manager at Annex.
And Annex. Okay, Kelli, also an alum. Kelli.
Hi, I'm Kelli Peterson, and I am a tax and training manager. I have CPA, CFP, ATA, masters. I think those are all the letters behind my name.
Trust me, you want her to do the work for you.
And yeah, I'm at Savant Wealth. So yeah, I kind of am in the tax role.
Yes, and UW Whitewater alum. And then she's responsible for Bennett getting to Savant. So Bennett, also a former student. Go ahead, Bennett.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bennett Wesley. Graduated in 2023, so it's great to see a lot of familiar faces in the room, especially Gene. Gene actually put me on this path, so I have to thank Gene, and Mark kind of sealed the deal, calling Kelli to help me kind of land my job at Savant. So I am currently an associate advisor there.
And he just got his CFP, Certified Financial Planner. Can you give him a hand? Which is great. Marissa. Marissa's also an alum.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Merissa Slowik. I graduated from Whitewater in 2019. I got my internship at Johnson Financial Group, and I've been there ever since. And I'm an associate wealth advisor in the Milwaukee office.
Thank you, Merissa. And then we have Sean Wayne. Sean Wayne is an alum, but he's also on the foundation board helping raise money for UW Whitewater as a whole. He helped contribute to build this building, and he's also a sponsor. He's done a lot. Sean, would you talk a little bit about Sky Edge Wealth and anything you want to share there?
Sounds good. So I think I'm on the wrong panel here. I was a graduate of 98. So congratulations to all of you.
1983, Sean, 1983.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, yep, the name of our firm is Sky's Edge Wealth. We're affiliated with Ameriprise Financial. We'll talk more details about that, I'm sure. Private wealth advisor, CFP, based in Madison, Wisconsin.
So, Sean, let's start with you on this. What attracted you to your firm? And I know there's the global firm, but then there's your organization within that firm. What attracted you? Just tell that story a little bit.
Yeah, so it's been a while ago, and it started out as American Express Financial Advisors. American Express spun off Ameriprise. So as a whole, we've been around for over 100 years. That when I say we, the parent company, not myself. And so that's when they really said we separated from the credit card, focused on investments and financial planning. So part of my story, and I want to get out there early, is encouraging is internships. I did an internship at Northwestern Mutual Life. Back then, they were primarily focused on insurance, not much in investing. Investing really interested me. Then I did an internship at Merrill Lynch in Brookfield with Merrill Lynch, primarily focused on trading, not so much in insurance or planning. So at that time, American Express Financial Advisors was one of the leaders in financial planning. Fast forward 25 years, that's where I think we're all at, and that's why we're here today. So that was what interested me at that time. Thankfully, I've been with the same company the whole time, which is very unique. They've continued to be a leader in financial planning, pushing the CFP and so forth. So
And you're based
some luck involved.
Based in Madison.
Yep,
based in Madison. Marissa, what attracted you to Johnson Financial Group?
Yeah, so a little bit about Johnson Financial Group. We are just Wisconsinly based company. Our headquarters is in Racine. We've been in wealth management for over 50 years now. We started actually as a bank in a trailer with Sam Johnson in Racine. If you guys know SC Johnson, we are a family company with them. The Johnson family owns them as well. And what really brought me to Johnson Financial Group at the start with my internship was the wealth side of the business. We really split investment and financial planning. We do work together as a team. However, when our clients become clients, they get an investment manager and then they get a financial planner or financial advisor. And so that allowed me to strictly focus on what I went to school for and do financial planning. And I think it brings a different type of team atmosphere to client meetings when you have more than one person in the room caring for the client's specific needs. As well as with Johnson Financial Group, we have a lot of employee resource groups, which allows the employees to get together on passions that they're proud of, such as women leadership, LGBTQ+, and we have 6 or 7 more. And then, of course, our community engagement. We give over $1.5 billion back into our communities every year.
Thank you, Merissa. And for those of you that don't know, the Johnson family is the 6th wealthiest family in the United States. And so Johnson Wax, based in Racine, and then all these connected businesses. So thanks for that, Merissa. Bennett, what attracted you to Savant other than talking to Kelli and getting blown away by all the opportunity?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I did go to Whitewater. I actually did the financial planning emphasis. So I kind of knew already this was an area I was interested in. I've only been at Savant for a year and a half, so I was in all of your shoes only a few years ago. And I remember when I was looking at the career fair, or just online, looking at different employers, I was trying to distinguish, okay, you hear financial planning, you hear wealth management, what does that actually mean? What does that look like at different firms? And as I dug in a little more, I came across Savant Wealth Management. I really liked that they're fee only. So what that means is the only way that we're compensated is based off the assets we manage. So for example, if there's $1 million out there that we bring in and we charge 1% on that, that's $10,000. That's the only way we're compensated. Doesn't matter what funds we put you in, doesn't matter what advice we give you, we're gonna be paid the same. So I was attracted to that fee structure because I thought it really took a lot of the conflict of interest out of it. And so I knew I wanted to look for a fee-only firm. Another reason I really like Savant was their dedication for lifelong learning. So actually a question I like to ask people at the career fair just in interviews was, do I have to get my CFP? And I framed it in a way as I don't want to do it. And when I talked to the people at Savant, they're like, absolutely, we need all of our advisors, and the goal is to have all of our advisors have the CFP letters after their name. And inside, I was like, that's exactly what I want to hear. That's a place I want to be that really focuses on that lifelong learning and continuing education.
Kelli, maybe you can talk about how you got integrated. And I'm going to have you talk about the significance of the CFP from your perspective, just so people know what it's about. And then Sean, I'm going to have you sprinkle a little bit more because you're also a CFP, your perspective there. And then I'm going to go back the rest of the way because I know Kevin's working on it, Kent's working on it. So go ahead, Kelli.
Sure. My path to Savant is a little bit different. I was here, I graduated in 2010 and 2011 with my master's in accounting here. Got my CPA, worked in corporate accounting for a few years, and just, I met somebody at a conference, honestly. It was an AICPA conference. She had her CFP. I never heard of that before. So I was like, what's a CFP? Kind of, dove into that world. And was like, yes, this is my passion. This is where I want to be with my career, like using my accounting, CPA background, and financial planning, which was not here back in 2010 and 2011. So had it been, that would have been my second major. I think somebody out there and I were talking about accounting, finance, double major. So yeah, that would have been my original career path had it been here. But yeah, I just was drawn to Savant with just their story, their history. It got started back in the 80s with an insurance sales guy, and he said, he kind of had a pit in his stomach that he was selling insurance but not actually helping his clients. So he's like, I don't care, if we're only charging $10,000, we need to do what's right for the client. What is in the client's best interest? So kind of like Sean said, like back in the, in the day, we were kind of the forefront people thinking ahead, like, hey, we need to give financial planning to all these professionals out there that, a lot of you have a great opportunity here, but a lot of people walk out of their college life not understanding what a 401k is, not understanding how to save for retirement. And that to me is just my passion. My husband can attest to it. He says I need a new hobby. But it really is like financial planning, how to set yourself up for success. There's a lot of great resources here. I just saw this morning on Facebook, Whitewater posted something about financial literacy opportunities here. So take advantage of all of that. And just a fun fact, when I got hired 9 years ago, I had to write a one-page paper of what does financial planning mean to you. And 2 weeks ago, I reread that letter, and I was kind of impressed with myself.
That's why you got hired.
I know. I was like, okay, that's why I got hired. I just like to look at it every few years and see if I would change anything, and maybe here or there. But for the most part, I said, and it's on our website now, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And so financial planning is right there. So that's what brought me to
So
Savant.
thank you, Kelly. And Sean, and I'm going to go back to Kevin and Kent about why you brought into Annex. But I want to hit this piece with the CFP. Well, you touched on it. And talk about the CFP. It's like many of you heard of CPA, right? Certified Public Accountant. And we have a program here that when you finish, you can sit for the CFP, thanks to Gene, right? And let's just talk about what a CFP means to you and to a client, Sean.
Yeah, so first and foremost, thank you, Gene, Mark, your whole team for leveling up and getting there, because we're in Madison. I'm 5-10 minutes away from downtown Madison, my office. We're recruiting from UW-Madison. We're recruiting from Whitewater. I bleed purple, so I like what comes out of Whitewater. I feel like you have an edge on your, like I did when I came out of here. So thank you. And you should all be thanking the program, because what we're looking to hire is people that have completed the CFP accredited program, emphasis in financial planning. That's the entry position into our firm. We're not asking you to be a financial advisor out of the gate like no firms up here are. And so that's really, really important. So then transition to what does it mean? We're students of the game. Kelly, you just said the word passion. That's what it tells me. If you've gone through that and you're like Bennett saying, I want to get it, that's who we want to add to our team. We want to add people that are dedicated to this. They're students of the game. They have a passion for this industry, not got into it because I heard the money was good. And I don't think anyone that got into it because the money was good is not interested in getting a CFP, because it's a lot of work. So that's what it means. What it means to our clients.
Yeah, to the client as well.
Yeah. This is a double-edged sword. I've had one client early on when I did not have my CFP ask me and put me on the spot. Thankfully, I could answer like others up here that I'm in the program and I'm 4 tests of 6 and sitting for the 2 days. So I was already doing it. Great. They're one of my amazing clients today from 20 years ago. But on the flip side, we're also putting it in front of clients, and in every one of our boardrooms where we're meeting clients, all the plaques are behind us. So we're now out in front of it. So what it means to me, though, is I don't want to get in a competitive situation where my competitor has something that we don't have. Now, what it really means too is, I don't know if clients really understand this, but what it means to us is you've gone through that curriculum and you're required to take another level of CE, ongoing CE, that others are not. But it's just, to me, it's one of the pieces of the puzzle. It's a really important piece of it if you want to work with high net worth, complicated clients.
And if you're talking to a candidate that is CFP eligible, how does that compare to somebody that just says, I want to get the CFP someday?
Yeah, that's the part there is, so I've been doing this a while and we've made hiring decisions. I'm in finance. And then what happens is, I was telling a bunch of people out here, is, okay, you've got the skill set, all these other check the box. And then what happens is, if this is your first experience, introduction to financial planning or some of the CFP classes, you might get in and go, that's not what I thought financial planning was. And I'm being really frank, it costs a lot of money to train people up and a lot of investment into that. And to find out 6 months or 12 months later, this really wasn't what you wanted to do. So what we've had a really good experience now is 2 interns that have come on full time. That did not happen in the first 20 years. Guess what? They all went through the program. They had the passion. There may still be a reason it's not a good fit, but at least we've checked those boxes, and I think you're in a better position to go, this is what I want to do. Now you're picking from some amazing companies, but at least you know it's the industry versus I've had people leave our industry and go to a completely different industry 3 years later. I feel like that's a miss.
Thanks for that, Sean. Appreciate it. Kevin, taking you back, tell us about Annex. What attracted you to Annex?
Well, I mean, I had a pretty good idea that I knew I wanted to go into the industry probably my junior year, even though I had a conversation with you a little late there in the game.
A little late in the game, Kevin.
So I started off as an independent advisor for insurance company, Thrivent Financial. You sell products, you bring in your own clients, basically formulate your own book. Not a fee-only fiduciary RIA like Annex is. So I did that for a couple years. You know, it didn't really work out. It is tough to build your book right out of business by yourself, right out of school by yourself. So I got 2 years more of an experience on top of an internship. Annex was hiring. Saw the fee-only fiduciary RIA, meaning no commissions, no product sales, salary. And that's where I wanted to go. It's a lot less conflicts of interest with the clients. And to, you know, Kelly's point of how her company got started by an insurance guy, there is a pit in your stomach. Not everyone needs an annuity. Not everyone needs a whole life policy. So I think Annex is much less conflict and
So
a
it
great
attracted
company.
you because of that model, right?
Correct, the model
No
to
question
sum things
about
up.
it. And then, so Kevin, thanks for that. And Kent, what would you say attracted you to Annex?
So funny enough, I stumbled into it after listening to a couple of the radio shows. So
Yes.
growing up, my
We had
dad-
Mark Beck here last year.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah. So we on the radio a lot. Growing up, listening to AM radio with my dad. So having kids of my own, I was like, well, we can throw that on. Seemed out to work out pretty well for me.
Yeah.
So it was like a Saturday. We were heading to the park and heard the radio show while I was back in school, because I did a little while in the Marine Corps and then decided to go back for economics. Didn't know what I wanted to do with that, but then kind of stumbled into the idea of maybe financial planning is it. And where you're sitting right now, where it's what is financial planning, what's the entire concept of it, was the same scenario I was in, where I had preconceived notions of what financial planners were, and then working with Annex entirely changed them. So that was awesome.
So Kent, thank you for that. And describe, I'm going to have a few of you describe, and you can pile on if you want to add something to it. Okay, financial planning, we kind of know that. We heard about CFP. What does a client engagement look like? So Kent, if I'm a prospect, right, and I'm a busy professional doing different things, you call me or referred to me, what happens?
First point, it was funny. I wanted to caveat off yours where somebody asked, oh, do you have your financial CFP and are you an expert? So I recently had that come up. So both of us are working on our CFPs, and then also I've heard about it too. So CFP, the way the industry is going. So, but looking at what a prospect interaction would be like, more than likely we're meeting them in person the first time. And then from there, it's more of the first meeting being less data-driven and more along the lines of figuring out who they are, what's making them tick, and what is their real top-of-mind type of issues. So you can always see it's either estate planning because of a recent estate planning issue, tax planning because of a future situation coming up, and finding out what is their main issue they want to solve by coming to you, because there's some reason that they're talking to you as a financial planner. And then bumping into the data and figuring out, okay, this is what's driving you. This is what your big issue is that you want to fix. What are the numbers? What's the whole situation? And then reconvening for a second meeting to show them a proposal of where we would invest, how we would fix their, whether it's an issue or a plan that they want to get in place altogether.
Kent, very powerful. And Kelly, I'm going to have you pile on, Kevin, unless you want to do something else or add something to that. Did you want to add anything to that? Okay. You know, Kelly, I just want you to think for a minute. You know, one of the things I learned early on in this career, I thought if I meet with an attorney, man, they know everything. If I meet with an accountant, man, they know everything. If I meet with a doctor, man, they know anything. And the reality is they're so busy in their careers, they hardly have a chance to look at their own personal finances, right? And to have somebody come in, listen to what they're trying to accomplish, run it through some software and show them options, oh my gosh, it's powerful. So Kelly, what would you add?
Yeah, Ben could probably add a little bit more from the advisor perspective. So I'm more, the way Savant has, number one, grown, and the model that we've always used is we have our financial advisors. I kind of like to think of them as our front line. They're the ones with the relationships with the clients, and then we have teams of experts. So I'm in the tax team. We have a marketing team. We have a trading team. We have an investment research team. So we have all these, we have a legal team. So we have all these experts kind of behind the scenes crunching numbers. So Bennett could probably talk more about what the client experience looks like from a prospect and everything. But I like to think too that we talk a lot about goals, and so it's what are the goals, and also trying to get in touch with the non-financial spouse, because personal life, my sister-in-law, whenever my brother and I are talking finance, I get all excited and she walks out of the room and she's like, I don't want anything to do with this. So it's more about connecting with that non-financial spouse and saying, what is important to you? What are your goals? How do we get there? And then kind of mapping it out. We kind of talk about the 10 key financial planning areas, including estate planning, tax, investments, charitable planning, if they have a business succession planning. So those are just a few of them that we talk about with clients. But it's a lot of just, meeting with the client, understanding where they're at, like you said, and just kind of getting to know them, getting to know, what makes them tick. One of my best examples was in December one year, a client called me that his mom had passed away. So, what does it look like from this perspective, or, what are some of the things that we need to do now that mom is gone? 5 weeks later, get another call from the client. His mother-in-law just passed away. So, things like life happens to clients, and they're usually once in a lifetime events, right? Retirement, the death of a family member, those are once in a lifetime events, but we see it thousands of times over. So we have that expertise to then help them navigate through, divesting those assets from their late mothers. And I filed the tax returns for them and stuff like that. So it's just, we get to have that expertise of doing it so many times over. We can bring that comfort. And a lot of times it ends up being what brings you peace of mind.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. And obviously, you see it from all the financial perspective as well. Bennett, anything you'd add from the personal side?
Yeah, great answer. Kind of hard to follow that.
Well, you don't have to.
I had a couple things I'd like to say, if that's okay, Mark.
That's
Thank
all right.
you.
Yeah.
I would say, as Kent said, a lot of what happens in our first meetings is just trying to get to know the individual and figure out what they're looking to have done. Again, they're there for a reason. For a lot of people, as Mark touched on, if it's professionals, if it's attorneys, doctors, people in high-paying fields, they don't have time to look at this kind of stuff. You'd be surprised, actually, how many people who are very smart have very not very financially smart situations. I would say, too, on to Kelly's point of getting the non-spouse involved, especially when the death of a family member happens, it's really important to have her and that relationship built, so then she trusts you or he trusts you. And then to be completely blunt with you, it's a great way to continue to keep that business in the door as well, because you've built that relationship with the other spouse as well. So definitely something to keep in mind as well.
Thanks, Bennett. Marissa?
Yes, so definitely our first meeting is, I would say, 80% listening to the client. Of course, you want to introduce yourself and your business. However, we definitely don't start with assets or balance sheets. That's not how we start, an introductory meeting. We listen to what we say, hopes, wishes, and dreams of the client, and not only the client that's in front of you, but their family. We also like to get a little bit in depth of their money habits and how they grew up with money, because that definitely determines the way that the relationship is going to work between you and the client. And then after you establish a trustworthy relationship, that's when you start to get the assets involved and the income involved, to be able to put that data into the planning software, where our planning team analyzes their financial situation. And then with the goals of the client, we're able to create some scenarios in the software that we use to help create recommendations to give to the client, and be able to implement that in the ways where it could be tax advice or the ways that we will invest their money depending on their timeline of their goals. So I think it's always important that goals and hopes, wishes, and dreams are on the front of every conversation. And we always meet with, even if clients are in retirement, they're steady, everything's great, we want to make sure that we meet with them at least on an annual basis, to make sure that their goals are in line, and meet with the entire family as well.
Thank you, Merissa. Thank you. And Sean.
Yeah, so we start with assets and liabilities. I'm joking.
Just to get a
I am
reaction.
completely
Wanted to get a
joking.
reaction from you,
No, what
Merissa.
I want to do is kind of draw the summary of all this, because this is a very similar process. What you're hearing up here, from my experience, is not normal. So that's what I hope you're all getting from this. I'm going to tell you, if a title of a financial advisor, less than 40% or 40% are doing what you're hearing up here. And so when you're out there talking to other firms, I hope that's what you're getting out of this. If you're not hearing this, and hopefully arming you with questions to ask, that's what I hope you're taking away from this, because I just want to, this is not normal. This is where I want to live, and this is where we live, and obviously we all have a lot of passion on it. I believe it's where the industry's going, very clearly. So I would recommend not considering a firm that is trying to play catch up, because it has gone there. This industry changes extremely rapid with technology and what AI is going to do for this industry. That's my biggest thing that I want to share with everyone. I hope is helpful. When you're talking to a company, do not settle, and don't join a company that's going to get there, because it's a huge gap.
Hey, Sean, while we're on this, okay, I'd like you to speak to this as well. I'm sitting there and saying, how in the world am I getting all this financial information from this client, their hopes, their dreams, and their aspirations? By the way, a mentor once told me the last detailed plan most clients have is going to college. I know I want a degree, and I know I have to get X amount of credits per year to get that degree. And then they get out in the work world, and it's just kind of happenstance. And the beauty of a financial planner is time out. Let's think about this. Let's go from there. And that's why these relationships are typically very long-term relationships, because you're offering that to a client, saying, time out, what's important to you? Let me listen. Let me go back and use some software, and then show you how you can get there. Talk about what the software helps you with when you're explaining this to a client. And then we're going to have two last questions, and we'll call it a day.
Good. I was going to mention that the software and the financial plan is a mission critical component to what we're trying to do. But oftentimes I believe that's more important to me as the financial advisor. We're not shoving an 89-page financial plan in front of the client. There could be, depending on the client, and it's reading the room of who is analytical and needs more data to show why we're on track for what we're talking about, and who is going to be overwhelmed by that and going to disconnect. But it's important for me, so that I have the confidence, once I've understood their goals and dreams and understood their cash flow and retirement, what they want to do, that I can then forecast out 10 to 20 years using a financial planning software, insert here, and then focus on the next 6 to 12 months of decisions we want to make. And we've got a lot of things that are going to be changing on the horizon here with a presidential election coming. But I don't know. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We're going to wait till the policy actually changes. But because I have a detailed financial plan looking at the next decade, I will immediately know what policy changes impact this client, then do not impact that client. But it's only if I have all of that information.
Yeah, and the software pulls it all together. And so there's going to be two last questions. The first question is going to be applicable just to a few of you. And then the last question is going to be applicable to all of you. What I'd like you to do, Kevin, if you would, and Kent, you can add to it if you need to, but tell us about the opportunities. Sometimes people aren't ready for client-facing opportunities, and sometimes they are. And sometimes they want to know about other opportunities within a firm. Just, Kevin, talk a little bit about that, and Kent, feel free to add on from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Annex, obviously, like most companies, have career tracks. So a good starting point, which we're actually hiring right now, is a client service manager. So where Ken and I are in meetings, they're picking up the phone, doing distributions, taking in contributions, basically everything up to the point besides advice. It gets you in the door, you get used to dealing with clients every day. Sure, it's not client-facing, implementing advice and giving strategies, but it's a way in. Then you can move into wealth manager assistant, where you're sitting in meetings with a wealth manager, taking notes, adding in value where you can. From there, associate wealth manager, basically you're running your own meetings, you're doing everything a wealth manager does, you just don't have your CFP. So that's why it is very, very critical to get that CFP. If they're offering it here, do it here, because I didn't. But that's kind of one open option. Otherwise, if you don't want to be client-facing, you don't want to go into the wealth manager track, we have an investment team. They're on their Bloomberg terminals all day, finding opportunities, trimming dead branches. Tax team, the planning team. So obviously, if we have 3 meetings a day, we can't go into the software and create the whole plan. We give them the data, and they'll put it into the plan.
So I hear a lot of opportunities, Kevin, right?
Yeah.
And how do they find out about opportunities at Annex? They could talk to you and Kent, but how else would you recommend?
The best way of doing it is probably LinkedIn.
Okay.
We have I want to sort of call her a recruiter, a headhunter, but she's in charge of hiring. Her name's Mac George. She's always posting the open positions, and even if something's not open, it might be worth it to throw her a message and say, hey, is there somewhere else I could start? But here's my end goal. But there's really 10 different ways of skinning this animal. I mean,
That's
can go.
great. No, thank you for that. Kelly, I'm going to go to you on this one as well. Bennett, you can add color commentary if you'd like. Again, opportunities, internships, other things.
Yeah, we just posted all of our summer internships. Most of them are in our Rockford, Illinois headquarters, but we have offices all over the country. So we offer internships pretty much everywhere. And Bennett is in our Madison office, so I'm in Rockford, Illinois. He's in Madison, so both of them within an hour from here. So yeah, we do a lot of advisory internships, but then also like I looked the other day, there was like business analytics, and I don't know if our marketing team does it, but investment research, trading. Like there's a lot of ways to not be client facing, and in fact, we would never expect somebody right out of college to be client facing. I think a lot of us up here would say the same. So kind of like what Kevin said here, I'm in the tax team, we have a specific financial planning team, we have a legal team, investment research, trading, marketing, back office, like billing type stuff as well. So lots of opportunities. And if you go to savantwealth.com/careers, that's our careers page. So you'll see all of the current postings right there. Try and if you're looking for summer internships, I would say to put in your application now, because we start that process of like interviewing and stuff in like January, February. So we're doing career fairs now and promoting that now, so definitely apply now. And I just wanted to go back to Sean's point about like the different technology and things too. We work with I'm in the tax side, we work with our advisors who do the retirement plan, and then they come to us and say, what are the tax implications? So we also have a software, so we often work back and forth, or hey, client needs X amount of dollars, which account should they take it out of? What is the tax implications for that? So it kind of sounds like you guys have a tax team as well. So we're all working together, and if I'm in a client meeting, a lot of times the advisor is very considerate of me and my time. And so I go to the client meeting first. We talk about tax for 10, 15 minutes, and then they're like, okay, Kelly's really busy, we're gonna let her go. And then they have the rest of their client meeting, and I get to scoot out. So I kind of like that.
That is good. That's efficiency, Kelly. That's awesome. Anything to add, Bennett? Otherwise, we'll move on.
2 quick things. So for those of you who are interested in the advisory position or advisory career path, that's what I went into. So obviously there's the advisory internship. That's where if you're not a senior or somebody younger, you're looking for an internship, that's somewhere to start. I was not an intern at Savant, so I started as an associate advisor straight out of Whitewater. And they put me to work pretty quickly. Fortunately, I did have that. I went through the CFP coursework here, so I was able to start studying for the CFP pretty quick, and fortunately passed back in March, and I can start showing the letters early next year. I don't have the date.
I got the LinkedIn notification. I sent you kudos.
Yeah. So I don't run any of my own meetings. I don't have any of my own clients. To be completely transparent, I am completely salary. Part of just the way that the advisors are paid. But as time has gone on, as an associate, I have started becoming more client-facing. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to present on certain topics that we do or certain plans that we run. A lot of what I do actually is tax planning. And I'm glad you brought that up, because something I didn't know about this industry before going into it is how forefront taxes are, and how taxes honestly can be the core of somebody's financial picture. They can really, really drive the decisions that are made. So just a forewarning, take an accounting class, take a tax class. It doesn't sound super interesting, but you're going to thank yourself later.
You bet. That's true. Merissa, we did change it, by the way. Yeah, tax. Gene changed it.
For introductory jobs and roles, I would say I was very fortunate to have an amazing path. So I started as a paraplanner. Like Kevin was mentioning, we'd have a planning team as well. So being the paraplanner on that team, I was solely responsible for getting the data from the client, entering it into the financial planning software, and then analyzing their current course of action, and then speaking with the advisor on some recommendations and implementations that we can give to the client. So that was a really great start. And then that led me into my associate wealth advisor position, where I don't have my own book of clients, but I assist an advisor and their book of clients. So I sit in client meetings, and I do take some parts of the meetings, a lot, I would say, around when to take Social Security and RMDs, and a little bit of taxes here and there as well. On an other note, we do have our customer support specialist team, which is, the taking the calls, the money movements, the new account opening, and that sort
Great
of
way to
things.
learn.
And it's a great first role as well. For internships, they are spread out between Madison, Milwaukee, and Racine. I know at Milwaukee we have a commercial banking, investment, and wealth and legal compliance internship this year, and those can be found on our Johnson Financial Group website.
Thank you, Merissa. Sean.
Perfect. So the roles sound to be very similar: client service manager, financial planning analyst, then to move to associate advisor. A little caveat there that we've done within our practice, which is similar to Ameriprise as a whole, which I'll comment on in a second, is we have the associate financial advisor that supports the private wealth advisors. So I only have about 80 clients myself, my business partners as well, and they're a junior in those meetings. Now, at that point, there's a Y in the road. If they want to go on to be a lead advisor, private wealth advisor, we will support that track. But what we found is not everyone wants to be in that lead role. By the way, the lead role comes with an expectation that you are cultivating new relationships. To some people, that comes like, that is fun. You walk into a room, there's people I don't know yet, and there's people I know. You're going to get to know those other people. Versus walking into a room and going, when is this over? Okay, so that's the difference, but really important role. So I think that kind of addresses your part of, you're still client-facing, but there's another stress to some people of going, I'm responsible for bringing in new relationships. So a little bit about that. And then I just want to talk about the bigger picture. I'm here representing Sky's Edge Wealth, our firm, but I'm also representing Ameriprise Financial as the bigger whole, in that we have advisors across the country. So Mark has my contact information. Reach out to me. What we're hiring a full-time financial planning analyst right out of college in May upon graduation. If you're looking for a different city, I had a bad experience about being recruited to Milwaukee when I wanted to be in Madison, so I'm very sensitive to that. I will put you in touch with some very successful practices in Milwaukee or Illinois. I'll turn that lead over to our corporate office, and we all work together. They get a lead from Minneapolis because that's where we're based. From going to University of Minnesota, they'll put that lead in front of me and go, hey, we want someone that wants to transfer back home. So it's a big family within our company. So just if we're from Madison, you want Milwaukee, if you like what you heard about Ameriprise as the whole, you can still reach out to us and we'll put you in touch with someone there.
Thank you, Sean. Last question. You can say pass. And the question is this. We started 10 minutes late, so we're going to be finishing on time. And so, Kent, I'm going to you. Is there any question I didn't ask that you wish I asked?
No, I think we covered everything as far as a baseline of what the financial industry is, as far as financial planning,
Yeah.
CFP, ways to get into the industry, and what you can expect. So I think overall, really well done.
Thank you, Kent. Appreciate that. Kevin, anything I didn't ask that you wish I asked?
No, I think you covered everything very
Okay.
well. I just kind of wanted to reinstill, there's 5, 6 to 10 different models in this industry. You have to make sure you're going into the right one that's best for you. But there's also countless roles. You don't have to be client facing. If you're more on the analytical side, there's definitely roles for that as well. You don't have to be cold calling or, formulating your own book if you don't want to do that.
A lot of different roles, right? Kelly, anything I didn't ask that you wish I asked?
No, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to add one thing there too, is be open to opportunities. So I was talking with somebody out there. I think my struggle recruiting from Whitewater is that everybody wants Milwaukee or Madison, and I think we only have so many desks in Madison. So hopefully soon we get a Milwaukee office. But I'm in Rockford, Illinois. Like I said, we have places all over the country. We have an office in Florida. We have South Carolina. We have Georgia. We have Delaware, Virginia,
Illinois.
Illinois, yeah, Iowa, if you like the Midwest, Iowa. So I mean, we're all over now. So I just don't be afraid, and not just for Savant, but in your careers. I think I was talking to somebody about going out to Phoenix or whatever. Like, don't be afraid to take opportunities out there. I lived a year in Ireland when I was doing corporate accounting and internal audit. So don't be afraid to say yes in your 20s and early 30s. It has, in my own personal life, it has meant the most success. I actually only work 32 hours a week now. I put in my work, I put in my time, I put in my dedication, I do good quality work. I negotiated to say, hopefully, I'm a mother sometime soon, and I don't want to work full time. I want to work 32 hours. Can we make this work? So if you say yes early in your career and you set yourself up for success and you do your own financial planning, you can make it work, and you can then kind of own your own time. So today's my day off, guys, and I'm here with you because I love this stuff.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it. Bennett, you know the question.
Mark, you did a great job. The only thing that I would add is, and I don't know if I've harped on this enough, maybe I have, but I'm going to harp on it one more time, is how valuable the CFP and the financial planning emphasis is here. A lot of my colleagues coming in at the same age as me, graduating in 2023, had none of this. And so they are still going through the coursework now. It's very common. And not a lot of people even straight out of college go straight to the coursework because you just did 4 years. Actually, you've been going to school for about 20 years. You probably want to do something a little bit different. This is not the field for you. There's always lifelong learning. But going back to my previous point, even if you are unsure about going into this industry and you're not fully set on it, you're going to learn a lot just for your own personal gain, for your own personal financial picture. It's always something you can come back to as well. So I would say you'll save a lot of time. You'll save a lot of money. It is thousands of dollars, and it looks great to employers. As Sean said, that's something that he looks for when he's hiring people. So just, if you're thinking about it all, talk to Mark, talk to Gene, talk to somebody.
Thank you, Bennett.
Sorry, can
Yeah.
I interject?
Yeah.
I wanted to say one more thing. As employers are looking for good quality candidates, be like, coming to these kind of things, like be engaged, get involved in different things. We're recruiting right now for our tax internships, so we're doing different interviews and whatnot. The things that stand out is if you have a cover letter to go with your resume, if you reach out. So we were at a career fair on Tuesday and somebody reached out the next day like, hey, thank you for your time at last night's career fair. So coming to these kind of events, being involved, and then following up with a potential employer is going to make you stand out. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
Thank
Sorry,
you, Kelly.
Marissa.
Thank you. Marissa.
I would say just a last tip I would have that I wish I did in interviews is, yes, you're interviewing for a specific role at the time, but don't be afraid to ask about how your career path would look at that firm, because they're, like Sean mentioned, they're investing in you. They want to see you be along term employee. And so make sure that you're asking them questions after 2 years in this role, like what do you see as a next step? So that would be just one piece of advice.
Thank you, Marissa. And Sean, closing thought.
Yeah, first off, Kelli, I'm interested in that 32-hour role, so we can talk afterwards if you have any openings. No, it's the
You
same
see
thing.
her
It's-
credentials.
Yeah,
They're going to
yeah.
keep her. She could say 18 hours, and they're going to keep her.
No, the flexibility, the work-life balance is clearly where this culture of the world and this industry are going, and so that's awesome to hear. I think the question would be is what can you do to prepare yourselves to have the most success, and it's what we've touched on here. So it's SIE, it's CFP, and we come back to the first thing I said, it's internship. Get that experience. It's just as important to find out what you don't want to do. It's not a failure if you spent 3 months in the summer and you walk out of there and go, that's not a failure. That is a win in my book. You could have spent the first 5 years upon graduation there. And so really quick, just got back from a conference in San Diego with Ameriprise Growth Conference, and I got introduced to a guy, one of the corporate people said, Sean, come over here and talk to this person. They just joined Ameriprise Financial. Guy's 49 years old, so way older than I am, right? And like they just joined and came over from Prudential at 49 years old. And it just hits me of like how lucky I am to do those 2 internships, not spend all that time. And he's starting over with Ameriprise at this point, and how excited he was. The energy was there of the technology is night and day from where I was. This is incredible. But to finally find that at that point, so it goes back to the internships and how important those are.
And with that, SIE, just remember Gene designed the SIE course here. Somebody else is teaching it now. But I've heard employers say, and that's the securities industry course, and I've heard employers say top of the stack if they have that course. So can we give them a round of applause? I really appreciate their time and energy. They're going to be here to mix and mingle with, and I think, Mo, you have some housekeeping items to take care of, right?
Thank you all. I'm going to have Dr. Premti, our department chair, to share a few words, and then afterwards we're going to have should I say, one of the most exciting part of the day, which is raffling the last 2 tickets for Bucks. So,
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, everybody, for being here. A special thanks to our panelists who also donated and make a lot of these activities feasible for us. Thank you to the professors who helped organize this. Special thanks to Mo and the FMA leaders who helped organize all of this, but it's also thanks to Mark Gmach, Mark Membrino, RJ, and Mo, who helped organize all the panels today. But yeah, this is in our spirit to have the students engage with employers and get to learn about careers. I hope you get engaged with FMA more. And as they mentioned, like get engaged with CFP, learn about the SIE, all these internships. All of you have gotten an email from me with videos about these opportunities. I checked one of those videos, had only 4 views, and 800 students got those. So make sure you learn of all the opportunities we offer here. So, and one of them was me, so 2 more out of 800. But thank everybody for being here. Great event, and let's see who wins those tickets.
thank you. All right. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if you're interested in activities like this, FMA, Capital Markets Club, if you're interested in, so FMA is a big umbrella, but Capital Markets Club, if you're more interested on the investment side. If you like real estate club. Real estate club is meeting Thursdays at 5:30. Every other Thursday, thank you. Capital Markets Club, every Monday, 5 to 6 p.m., just as a reminder. And if you're interested in the AIP program, I think CMC is trying to help students. We only have limited spots for the AIP, Applied Investment Program. So CMC, with the actual money that we're trying to raise through fundraising, We're trying to provide that opportunity to more students, whether they can make it to AIP program or they just want to have some experience to see if that's for them or not. So without further ado, let's, are you guys ready for the raffle? So let's do the raffles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you want internship, you know what to do with the tickets, right?
Awesome. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and do. We already raffled 2 tickets right before lunch, and we have 4 tickets to give. So in the past, we've done 2 people win 2 tickets. That way, they can bring a friend this year. We're trying to give the opportunity for more students to win tickets. So we're doing 4 raffles. So each student will just get 1 ticket per. And hopefully, the goal with that is that you guys can kind of commingle, meet other people who are interested, like-minded. And probably the coolest part is actually going to the game. So not so much meeting people, but all right. So we got 2 more to give, and the first one. You do have to be here to win. And the crowd,
Tiana?
she's here.
Oh! Come on up.
I think you can.
Let's see.
Do a quick interview. How do you do? All right, 1 more ticket. Drum roll.
We'll share it. Hey, the claps are longer when somebody's missing, you know? Louder and longer. Ethan. Wow, he's he, he last year he won the RMA scholarship. Now he knows how to win. I don't know what's up, but yeah, he's a winner. So, all right, I think. No, we don't. No, don't do more. We don't have more than 4 tickets. So everything else is gonna be. What happened to the other 2? Hold on. If they're not here, we can raffle 2 more. No.
I know Sam had to leave, and who
Roman. So, oh yeah, Roman is here. Sorry, come up. So, no. So, first of all, I want to thank Jeff Hunt again for sponsoring these tickets. He's so kind to provide so good. I know the most important question. We can't give you the tickets right now, so you have to wait until Monday. Yeah. So if you want to claim your tickets, probably Tuesday at the FMA meeting. If you're not there, then I may or may not give them up. So I don't know. We'll see. No. And I know. I think if you want a +1, you know where to find us.
No selling the tickets.
Yeah. If we find it on Craigslist, we know where to find you too. So. Yeah. Yeah, so outside from now on, it's open outside. I want you guys to network with our panelists, take advantage of this opportunity. These are your best resources if you want to get into the financial planning program. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being here, making it out here, being so flexible with us to schedule these panels. The hardest part of the scheduling is to make sure that everybody is accommodated. So thank you for being flexible and helping us with that. So give it up once again for them. And And I'll see you soon. And hopefully at the FMA meeting on Tuesday for the most part.